I'm Robert P. Fitton, and this is a quick synopsis for 6 Feet Under, Matthias Jones series, Murder, Mayhem, and Monkey Business. I have a confession. When I walk into a situation or I'm with a group of people, perhaps in a new place, I have this constant urge to backtrack. What do I mean by that? How did the present evolve to be the present? I think that's a fair question, but more than that, it's an intriguing question. Matthias Jones lives in a real colonial house on the Hamilton Common. Now, unless Jones is 200 years old, we'll say that for my time travel books, there have been multiple owners of the colonial. There is a quite rich and suspect past where Hamilton Fletcher, after slipping on Jones's patio pavers, proclaims that the house is cursed and that the house has always given him trouble. Jones finally pressures Nigel, dean of the students, after Hamilton storms off the property to clarify what Hamilton meant by the remarks. Reluctantly, Nigel relates the story of one Harrison Mobley from 25 years ago and how he disappeared from the town and was never heard from again. Nigel tells Jones of a complex series, a web of wild parties at Jones's colonial way back when. They're all connected to Harrison Mobley in various ways, and most of the people are still alive today, including a young Lark Larson and a much younger playboy driving his Lamborghini, Hamilton Fletcher. Amidst the background of this world from 25 years before, Nigel postulates that Harrison Mobley made so many enemies that a mere disappearance does not explain what happened to him. The possibility of a murder might bring better closure to the past. At first, Jones rebuffs Nigel, but his suspicious nature and proclivity for side road theories prompt him to wonder if Mobley was murdered. And how do you investigate a crime from 25 years ago? That would be a cold case. Jones becomes more inclined to pursue the Mobley case when he attempts to resurface his backyard patio. He hires the Brannigan boys, Bose, Slappy, and Iron Man. Iron Man is, of course, always looking for a fight, and Jones by accident decks the Iron Man, earning his respect. Slappy could be one of the 7 dwarfs with his scatterbrained ramblings. Bose is a cross between Deputy Dog and Crazy Guggenheim. I'm not going to do that right now. Go to YouTube if you don't know those characters. The Historic Commission shuts down Jones's attempt to replace the patio, which doesn't make sense. There are loose tiles making the area a hazard. And then Lark Larson warns Jones about awakening the spirits if he digs up the patio, and such a move could permanently ruin Lark's reputation. Jones asks how Lark's reputation could get any worse. But now he's wondering more about Harrison Mobley. Then wise-ass Bucky Driscoll says that Harrison was murdered at Jones's house. The big blowout, according to Lark, occurred on one night when Harrison Mobley disappeared. Arnie Dewars, when he was 12 years old, saw the events of that night through his father's binoculars because he was a peeping Tom. A little brown Toyota repeatedly kept circling the common, and Hamilton Fletcher himself slid his Lamborghini onto the sidewalk before entering the colonial. In 6 Feet Under, Jones uncovers dozens of details that direct him toward people, now suspects, who are still walking the streets. Lark's background in this mess from 25 years ago is astonishing, and yes, there's a female involved, and lots of Bucky being Bucky. And as we saw with the binoculars, Arnie was his obnoxious self long before the present day. Coco was only 12 years old and with his brother Anthony on Canal Street in Prince William. The present day scene with Coco, Jones, and Uncle Dulio at the boxing gym in Prince William is a classic Uncle Dulio moment. Jones figures out the elaborate plot from newspaper reports of the time and compares the area of land in North Hamilton to the descriptions in the paper. This leads directly to the exciting conclusion involving Coco and Jones and the Brannigan boys, facing one man who has the most to lose by opening up the past. And Arlo Wombat from WOFI Radio in his roving van is broadcasting the whole thing from his mobile studio inside the van. And as to who is guilty of what, if anything, I'll leave that for the book. 6 Feet Under gives the Jones series a much-needed depth for the everyday characters and introduces the Brannigan boys who will reappear in Johnny's Back in Town. Oh, and you think Harrison Mobley is buried beneath the patio, don't you? From me to you, anyone can be buried under Jones's patio. 6 Feet Under is available at Amazon in Kindle and paperback, and the audio, which accentuates these characters very well, is at audible.com and iTunes. I'm Robert P. Fitton, and this has been a quick synopsis of 6 Feet Under.